the June 21st, 2022 meeting of the Acushnet Public Library Board of Trustees. We are being audio taped and videotaped, and we do have a quorum. Our first item on the agenda today is the Secretary's report from May 31st. Does anyone have any clarifications or questions on those minutes? If not, we need a motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have the budget.
Okay, so you all have the budget snapshot as of today. Hard to believe, we've got 9 days left to the fiscal year. So we're down to the wire here. The salary lines reflect payroll through last week. So we processed payroll this morning for the past 2 weeks. So what remains in salary will cover June 20th through June 30th, because that's the pay period we're in now. And that will get us through the end of the year. And we are still on track to return approximately $5,000 from the salary line to the town's general fund. And again, as I've been saying all along, that's just due to the turnover we had this year, with new employees starting at less than the previous employees were making. As far as operating goes, we are 99.2% spent out with just a few $100s remaining. The last water bill is still pending. That always comes like the first week of July or so. So we will be all set for that. We've also only received phone notices through April for AT&T and through December for Verizon. So when all is said and done, we most likely won't be returning much in operating. You might remember we talked about the phone bills before. They're paid through the town hall, and then we get a notice that shows us the amount that was paid, but they've had a rough year in that office with a lot of turnover as well. So that said, I imagine we're not going to be turning much back in the operating. So I think by June 30th, we'll be pretty much, aside from that $5,000, we'll be pretty much, all spent out for the year, which is great. Because I'd rather not turn back funds that were, given by resident vote to the library. So we're on track. Any questions about that?
No?
Looks good to me.
Great.
We have a motion.
A motion to accept the expense report as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving along on the agenda, we have old business, an update on the building projects.
Really just wanted to put a cap on the pavilion, which is why I put this back on the agenda again. It's been on for a while, but the pavilion is done now. The electrical work is done, which is great. That was completed last week, like minutes before the first usage of the pavilion when the Ford Middle School chorus performed here. So the electrical is set. We did have some birds that were beginning to make some homes in the rafters of the pavilion as expected, so the town took care of that with some spikes and other things that they had planned to do all along, but staff shortages everywhere and it's tough. So anyway, bottom line is it's good to go. It's great. We used it last week for the first time. We had about 80 people here for the Ford Middle School chorus. It worked out beautifully. And our big use of the space will be for the 10-week summer concert series, which kicks off tomorrow, Wednesday, June 22nd, and is every Wednesday at 6 p.m. for 10 weeks. So we're very grateful to the building department, particularly Jim Merritt and his team, for making it happen, to DPW, who did a lot of the groundbreaking for us and did a lot of preliminary things for the electrical that all started just about a year ago. That just popped up on some memories of mine online, and that's hard to believe that was just about a year ago, and now it's done and we're using it, which is very exciting. So you most likely will not see that on under old business anymore, but I really just wanted to give it the finality. So we're good with the pavilion.
I think it looks great.
It does look great, yeah, it really does, and it was really exciting to see people using it last week with the chorus, and it actually, I think, was perfect that it was a group of Acushnet youth and, their outstanding teacher who got it going, and I think for the fact that this is a former school, we've had a really great relationship with the school department this year, so this past school year, which has been wonderful. So I think it really was just worked out perfectly that's what kicked off the use of the pavilion. So yeah, everyone was really happy about that.
Good.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything on the pavilion? Everybody's good? All right. Moving on to more old business.
Yeah.
The update on the summer calendar.
So last time we spoke about summer, and I just wanted to circle back on it again. Of course, I left the printout in my office, but that's okay. We have a lot of stuff coming this summer, and I encourage you all to definitely look on the library's website and click the calendar link to see everything that's coming this summer. We also are posting as much as we can to Facebook and Instagram, so if you follow us there, you can see what we're doing there as well. I do have to say, and I don't know if any of you will remember this, when I gave my presentation to the Board of Selectmen for fiscal year 23, requesting that full-time position, someone did say in response to everything that we do that maybe we just shouldn't do as much as we do. And that comment did not sit well with me at the time, because we're the only place that people can come to for free programs. We offer things for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are. You're welcome to come here for a program for free. And what better thing can you offer your residents than free programming? That said, I may have bitten off a little bit more than we can chew this summer. This is the first summer since 2019 when we were slammed in 2019. It was awesome, but we had a very seasoned staff in 2019. We right now have half of a new staff. Half the people who are here have never experienced a bigger summer before. They've been here for a very quiet summer last year. And yeah, maybe it's too much. So maybe I'm thrilled with the amount of things we're able to offer, but I may have bitten off more than we can chew, and I've let the staff know that. And so our July is jam-packed, and we have a little less happening in August as a result, just because I don't want the staff to burn out. And also, we've been very fortunate and very healthy here, our staff, but we have had our second COVID case in a month, and that's the first time that's happened in 2 years. So COVID is still very much here, and if I don't have staff in the building, I can't have staff outside running programs. So I think, again, I say this in part to remind us that we really have to work for some full-time, or a full-time position at least here at the library. I really think that needs to be a focus of the board. I know you feel that way, but I say this to reiterate that, because that would alleviate some of the worry I have about not having enough staff hours to cover what we're doing. And again, we're offering these programs for free to the residents of the town, particularly children. We have a lot of adult things happening this summer too, but it's free youth programs. So anyway, I don't mean to say that also to put a damper on things. I mean, the calendar is, I think, very exciting. Next week, we have the Whaling Museum coming with a life-sized whale that you can walk in. That was a late addition to the calendar. That's next Tuesday,
Wow.
the 28th, from 10:30 to 12:30. That's thanks to the Acushnet Cultural Council and the Whaling Museum. That we will have this fun event. So it's been online on the online calendar as sort of just it's been there, but we just announced it on Facebook today. So we're looking forward to that. That's our first big kids event. But then following that, we've got 3 or 4 storytellers booked, 2 magicians, a couple of balloon artists. In one of those programs, the kids will get to learn how to make balloon animals themselves. We've got the weekly story time. Melissa's going to do her weekly Wednesday story time on a few Saturdays throughout the summer when she works, so that people who can attend on a Wednesday potentially attend on a Saturday. So there's a lot going on. So again, please look at the calendar and see what's what. But I think it will be a good summer, but we're going to be busy. And again, I've already apologized to them if it's too much. Yes.
Is there something we can do to help?
I don't really know yet.
Chaperoning what's outside?
We're going to try to recruit some older kids as volunteers, so to have some help with, so that a staff member who's outside doing a program, in other words, we don't need to have 2 people outside doing the program, we could have 1 staff member and a volunteer outside, and we're working on that. So if that doesn't pan out, maybe I'll ask, one of you to swing by. But certainly you're more than welcome to come anytime anyway, and maybe do some spreading of the good word, by like that telephone game, like one of you tells one person.
I believe that the middle school, the Honor Society needs hours too.
Okay.
They need community service hours to volunteer.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, I can try to find a point of contact for that, but
Okay.
I think they
Reach
have
out to them
I think they
also.
have a central list where they can kind of like, hey, listen, this is happening, and then you go, and then I think you just sign their,
Yep.
you sign their
we've
paper.
had them come in for stuff like that before,
So-
but this is the first time we're sort of trying to actively ask the
Mhm.
people that we know that use the library already to come in. So, but that's good to know. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you. Good. And also, I did just want to say the Friends of the Library committed quite a bit of money to us this summer, so I appreciate that the Friends were able to do that. They did a letter writing campaign to local businesses and organizations, and all in all, they're giving us approximately $5,000 for the summer reading program, which is great. It's the most we've ever asked for from them, and it's the most that they've given us. And then the rest is through a few grants from the Acushnet Cultural Council and our state aid to public libraries funding. So again, this does not come, when I say free programming, it truly is free to the residents because it does not come from any appropriated money. And that's about it on the summer calendar.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
Let us know.
But it's exciting, and thank you, I appreciate that very much, thank you.
It sounds like you're making up for all that lost programming.
It is, and I think back in January, it sounded like a great idea. Now that it's starting kind of tomorrow, it's like, whoa, what did I get us into? And especially because, again, COVID is still very much here, so it's going to impact us one way or another this summer, I'm sure. So hopefully its impact will be very minimal.
Anyone have any questions or any comments on the calendar? Okay, we'll move along to new business then. Security cameras, adding security cameras.
So I forwarded a quote to you from Wayne Electric and Alarms regarding adding the camera to the back of the building for the pavilion. Our current camera system is through Wayne Electric. They put that in 2018. This camera would be added to the existing system and would go on to the monitoring software that we're already using, so it's something we're familiar with. The quote is in the amount of $1,394. I believe as long as the material is available, they would be able to do this for us very soon, from what I understand. The money for it would be coming from the library's stock gift fund, which, as you know, is money that was designated for a new library, which we still are in a lot of ways, and we still have this account to spend. So I'm not sure if anyone has any questions on what I sent or anything to clarify. It is just the one camera that will be added, high definition and with a lens that should cover the back.
Quote seemed fine with me. I didn't have any questions about it. Did anyone else have any questions
No.
or comments? Or?
Seems very fair.
Alright. Can we have a motion?
A motion to accept the bid as presented.
Second?
Aye.
Thank you all. So I will follow up with them today. Thank you.
Now we have the director's report.
So like I said, it's shorter than it usually has been, but work. It's due to lack of time. I think between summer reading, everyone trying to use up their vacation time. I certainly don't fault our staff for not wanting to take vacation in January, but I am so grateful to those who do take vacation in January, February, and March, because it's one less person to work with. Today we had 2 different staff members had 15 minutes left that had to be used by June 30th. So they both left 15 minutes early today to use that time because they need to get everything over to them, even though they're saying, oh, it's okay. Nope, that's your 15 minutes. So, but there's still a few of us who are plugging along at that as we can. So, that said, May and June both have been pretty hectic, especially as I wrap up FY22 and then get started already on all the documents that I use that I will use for FY23 with the budget and staff schedules, that whole thing. But a couple of things I wanted to highlight. The weeding project I've been doing in adult fiction is still very much ongoing. I can't say enough. I know I've said this to you before. It's never going to change. We just don't have enough shelf space. They knew that before we even relocated here, that we weren't really gaining linear footage on the shelf. We were gaining square footage, yes, a lot of it, but not linear footage, because we had that second floor at Russell where a ton of bookshelves were. And I know I repeat that a lot, but I feel that's important to keep saying that, because that's why we're going to keep running into this, where we're just going to have to weed to make room for new material, which is not great. But anyway, I was really hoping to finish that up by mid-June, and it just did not happen. Part of the reason why it's taking so long is we just don't have anything to do with the discards. The Friends have not set up when to hold their annual sale, if they're holding an annual sale. They do the lobby sale. We've been doing a 4 for $1 on hardcover sale for the Friends, and we've been advertising that just to help move that material along, because there's nowhere to store it, because the shelving units we have in the basement have books on them that were weeded in 2020 when we first closed at the very beginning of COVID. So it's really taking so long just from lack of space and not being sure what to do with the discards. I just hate to box them up and give them to a recycling program and not make any money for the Friends. So that's part of the reason why it's taking so long. The other part is the time, but it's also just from the not being sure exactly what to do with the books once they're weeded. So we'll see what happens. We could still be talking about this project in the fall, just heads up, depending how the summer goes. In the past week, some of the staff had talked about it would be nice to have a microphone and speaker for programs that belong to the library, instead of relying on people who were coming in to do programs to bring their own. And Melissa discovered very early on in story time that she was losing her voice by the end of story time, particularly when it's outside, and wondered if we could purchase something to help with that. So thanks to the Friends of the Library, we purchased a microphone and speaker for story time. We priced out a couple of different models and found something that was good within budget and seemed like it would work well for Melissa, and she was able to use it last week and it worked beautifully. And I believe Sandra will also use it to introduce the performers during the concert series. Like, we're already finding ways that we'll need to use it. Staff might do like karaoke during downtime. I don't know. It's not set up for karaoke, but if you know the lyrics, you don't need the music. It'll be, yeah. So we might have some fun with that too. But it took someone new to doing story time to realize that, hey, this would really be super helpful, and it was great that it all just worked out, and that Friends had committed money to us for summer reading, and that's what we've used as some of that summer reading money to cover the expense. So a big thank you to the Friends for that. Like I mentioned earlier, we've had a really great year with school visits with the public schools, and that's continued through the end of the school year. Melissa did a couple of visits with the preschool last week. That was her first time doing that, so pre-K over at the elementary school, so she got to visit with them. I attended one of them just because she hadn't done it before, and it was very cute to see the 3rd and 4th graders from the elementary school, as you know, participated in the first ever bookmark contest, thanks to their art teacher. We had 1,707 individual votes through the contest. That was both online and in person. We have 10 winners as a result, just the top vote receivers, but it was very close. There's a lot of really cool artwork. And now the ones that did get the top, or that made it into the top 10, we are printing out those bookmarks and we will hand them out throughout the summer. So it'll be a great way to promote the library and the summer reading program, but also to showcase the art of local students. So I think that's a neat prize, that your art will be shared with people who use the library. So we're really appreciative to Mrs. McElhaney, the art teacher, and to all the students who participated. They did get a special summer brag tag, a young artist brag tag, that one of the middle schoolers, who's a regular library patron, she picked it out for us. So all the kids got one for participating. Summer reading sign up starts tomorrow. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to mention, we're doing our first adult in-person workshop since before COVID. We have a rescheduled event next Monday. It's a beaded bracelet workshop. We were supposed to do that in April of 2020. It's finally happening now. And it filled up in less than 24 hours, so people clearly are interested in doing something like this. Again, that's a free program. It's funded through the State Aid to Public Libraries program. The woman running it is an Acushnet resident who owns a beading business, I believe in Freetown, but she'll be here, and if interest is as high as it seems like it is, then maybe we can get her back at another point this year if the budget allows. So we're really excited for that next week. And just wanted to point out, if you've had a chance to look at the statistics, you may not, because you did just get them. But it's pretty obvious, I think, we're definitely up over where we were a year ago in terms of circulation. We had 1,660 items circulate in May. I'm imagining we're just going to see that number go up for June, July, and August quite significantly. July and August of 2019 was the first time we hit 10,000 circs ever, and I'm pretty hopeful we'll get close to 10,000 circs in July and or August this summer. So as much as I'm worried about the increase, I'm also very excited and also very hopeful that people will continue to return throughout the summer. Yeah, I think that was it. I think that was what that was it.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Look at the people counter, 1,620.
In May was our computer sessions. The number of computer sessions dropped a little, and that could be partly because we were having issues with the printer. And a lot of people do pop in. Before COVID, a lot of people would be here for hours doing internet browsing. I think that a lot of our regulars figured out how to survive without the library's computers during COVID, so they either got their own computer or a device that allows them to access the internet, because we don't see a lot of those same people coming in as much as they were before COVID. A lot of people do come in to print, so if they get here and the printer isn't working, then there's no reason for them to log on to the computer to start a session. So we did see a slight drop in that in the month between April and May. Nothing tremendous, but as long as the printer behaves going forward, then hopefully we'll be okay. But we shall see.
The hotspot seems to be going well.
Yeah, that program I think has been really well received by our patrons. The downside to that program, as we knew when we got them, is that it's only for a year. So at some point this summer, I'll need to speak with you about whether or not we want to spend the money to purchase that on our own. We've been paying, it was paid for through a state grant. It was free of charge to us. Nick, who works in the finance office, the assistant town accountant, he did a little pricing with me, and it could cost close to $2,000 to do it on our own. So we would really have to sit and look at the budget and figure out if that's something we want to do. It is a lot of the same people using it, checking it out over and over again. So on the one hand, that's wonderful, but are we going to spend that amount of money for the benefit of the same 10 people? Or so we've got to really sit down and figure out what to do. If we can do it for a small, I mean, you know, the amount of individuals using it doesn't really matter, but when you're talking, if you compare what that is to usage of a book, let's say, then the numbers are never going to look.
How much was it gonna be for a year?
Right. It would be about $2,000 to have 5 of them for a year.
For the summer, anyway.
Yeah.
When I go camping.
I don't think you can just do it for the summer. I don't think
It works well. It does work really good, though.
Do our contract that way. But, yeah, and they work great, you know, I mean, as long as you're in an area that T-Mobile provides coverage in, then they do work great, so.
Yeah, got my smart TV working in the camper, so it was well worth it.
Very good. But at some point this summer, I'll definitely have the correct figures, and we can have a discussion on if we want to put state aid or revolving fund or any other. I would say that we not use appropriated money for that, but another account could certainly cover it if we wanted to. And again, I say that about the appropriated money only because we only appropriate about $26,000 from the town for materials. So if we wipe out 2,000 right away, right off the bat, at the top of the fiscal year, we kind of have set a weird precedent for ourselves, potentially. So, but it's certainly going to be a discussion this summer.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and again, just to repeat, people who are using it are loving it. I mean, that's wonderful that we're able to provide that service. The people who are borrowing them are Acushnet residents. People, and most libraries do have them. It just happens it's mainly people from Acushnet who are coming in to borrow ours. It could be members of other communities, but that's not how it's working. So it's nice to provide that service to our residents for certain.
Anybody have anything else? All right, do we want to set the next meeting date?
Yeah, I jotted down a couple of dates, Tuesdays in July, and you tell me if they don't work out, we can certainly revisit. But I was looking at either July 19th or July 26th, with July 26th as the preference. But it could go either way.
That worked for me, 26th and 19th, 26th fine.
I won't be here for the 26th.
Are you here on the 19th?
I won't be here on the 26th either.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
How about the 19th?
Sorry,
19th, I'm
sorry to be
here.
a damper.
No, that's okay.
19th's good.
The
19th is good.
19th, okay.
Okay.
At 4 o'clock. Are we still want to do 4 o'clock? Does that work for everybody?
That's
That's for
fine.
me, yeah.
And, I mean, if it turns out that there's going not much to discuss other than like a director's report, then I'll maybe ask to bump out to the first week of August maybe, so that you're not coming in on a Tuesday in the summer.
Did you want to write down a second choice just in case? While everyone's sitting here, totally up to you.
Well,
We can do July 19th, and then at least if you don't have that, we can bump it out to whatever the second.
let's see. Let me just see what's happening on that
Yeah.
first week of June. Excuse me, first week of
August,
August.
yeah.
Yeah, then I'm not here for the following 2 weeks. So let me just bump that calendar.
If not, you can always do it another
No,
time.
I got it right here. Just give me one.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Jen knows, for the first time ever in my library life. I'm taking some time off in August to go on a vacation with my family. So, yeah, I feel a little bit of guilt about that, except that, I mean, the staff is very supportive of it. And by then, it'll be a really well-oiled machine. So if anything goes wrong, it won't be because I'm not here. It will just be because it was going to go wrong anyway. But that just means I gotta work extra hard at this. Yeah, could we put Tuesday, August 2nd, if that's possible, as the next step if July 19th doesn't have much? Does that work for people?
That works for me. Does it work for everybody else?
Would you say second?
Yes, 2nd, August 2nd.
I agree with that too.
We'll do, so preference is July 19th,
Yeah.
and then if there's not much
Preference
on the
July.
agenda, we'll push it to the
Yep.
2nd.
Okay, that would be
That
great.
works?
Yep.
Okay.
That's
Good.
great.
Perfect.
Thank you all, I
Both
appreciate
at
it.
4.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll be in touch like the week before July 19th to say
Mhm.
whether or not, that way you're not holding on to that for nothing,
Yep.
if that's what it proves to be. So, okay, great, thank you.
Does anybody have anything else? All right. We don't have anything else? We need a motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This June 21st, 2022 meeting of the Acushnet Public Library Board of Trustees is officially adjourned. It is 4:34. Thank you.